pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello BookTube, I'm Sean the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my channel. I don't feel very well. I woke up thinking, why do I have such a hangover? I didn't drink any more last night than any other night. What's going on? And I haven't been able to do really anything today. I was hoping to do a ton of reading and filming and film editing, as I got my Vlogmas stuff all pre-filmed, and I think I'll still be on track with it, but I didn't do a damn thing today. But I think I'm actually coming down with a bit of a cold. I'm a little throaty and whatnot, so I don't think it's a hangover, but it could be a combination. As I said in a recent video, in Japan, the year-end parties are called Bonenkai, and I've had several. But I didn't have one last night. I just had my usual at-home nightcaps, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And I just felt like crap all day today. But no, I think it's a bit of a cold coming on. I fly to Canada tomorrow, so the timing is terrible, but I'll be okay. I've been gargling with salt water, and I'm sure that'll be enough medicine for me. The word December in Japanese is Junigatsu, which is 12 month. Juni is 12 and Gatsu is month. But in ancient Japan, or hundreds of years ago, they had very different names for the months, and that weren't just numerical like that. And the one, I don't know many of them. In fact, the only one I know is December, and it was Shiwasu. And even though I can't see etymologically or anything, because my Japanese level is way down here, but Shiwasu literally means the teachers are running. Or it's usually expressed as, even the teachers are running. In other words, year-end parties, there's so many year-end parties that even the lazy teachers who never run, who never work, who never move fast, even they are running. That's what Shiwasu means, and that was the ancient or old-style Japanese word for December. So I'm a teacher in Japan, and yeah, I've been kind of running from party to party. And so when anybody talks about being hungover or being so busy at this time of year, I always say, Shiwasu ne! Shiwasu ne. I've had a pretty darn good reading week. I think my 2018 reading year is going to close out with some real hits. There's one that I'm a little bit iffy on at the moment, suddenly. Laura, take note. But let me talk about the one that I finished. Was really great. It wasn't a 5-star read, but it was an enthusiastic 4-star read. That was that little novella I mentioned last week. The Girl on the Via Flaminia by Alfred Hayes. I really enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I didn't find that it was the kind of story or the kind of characters that brought out the deepest emotions in me, but it was really still fascinating and dark, and it really showed the plight of being a beautiful woman in a war-torn, occupied country and being hungry, and the way to eat is the way to survive is to be taken under the wing and taken into bed with an American soldier. And that dilemma was dramatized so artfully. I really liked it. It's a very different kind of war story, and the fact that it was written by, I always forget, Alfred Hayes was British? Not American. Yeah, he was British. But I felt that he really imagined his way into that Italian woman's I just saw a great comment from Mel on one of my videos. It's totally distracted me. Mel, you ruin everything. No, you make everything better. Mel is one of the very few booktubers that I watch every video, even though our tastes barely overlap. Like, she goes on and on about mystery novels, and I don't like mysteries at all, but I watch every video. just very comforting booktuber to watch. Not just comforting, but there's something very comforting about her videos, and also stimulating, even when she's talking about really uninteresting books. So, love Mel. Where was I? I can't do too many digressions because I am pressed for time and not feeling very well. So, whew. Yeah, I just thought he really captured something unique about the aftermath or the collateral damage of war. It was profound. I really recommend it. I Want to Read More by Alfred Hayes. I also started one other book that, if it continues to be as emotionally satisfying as it is in the first 50 pages, could, push other books off my top reads of the year. My very first Wendell Berry novel, Hannah Coulter. This was a gift from a dear friend from Litzy, Sarah. She sent me a box of books a couple years ago, I think, and I'm finally getting to the first one out of that box. Oh, this was a 2004 novel. Wendell Berry's still kicking. He's 84 years old. None of which I knew until, but I literally just checked the publication date. I assumed it was published earlier, but it's a farming novel, and it's about a couple generations of families in Kentucky, rural Kentucky. And it's a first-person narration. Hannah Coulter's an old woman looking back on her life. It's a very simple point-of-view style, but there's something about her voice that just, I love her. She's like all my grandmas and aunts and every old farming woman that I've ever known in my life, and she has just yanked me into her world and into her emotional life. Like, there is a scene about when her first husband proposed to her that, like, it should, like, how do you make that new in a way that's viscerally, knocks me off my chair emotional? It's the most cliched, it's been done to death, but the way that it's told here, I couldn't believe that I almost started crying in public reading that chapter. I'm loving it so far. Really, really loving it. And it's my first Wendell Berry. It certainly won't be my last. I am still reading and enjoying Elizabeth Taylor's A View of the Harbor. And these two are going, all of these books I'm going to tell you about, except for obviously the one I just finished, will be going to Saskatoon with me, but I hope to finish them all this year. I have to. And I have started and am now maybe just over a third of the way into this Quebec novel, newly translated and getting all kinds of accolades and literary prize nominations. Songs for the Cold of Heart by Eric Dupont. I don't know what the French pronunciation of his name would be, but that's what I would say in English, Eric Dupont. And he's been compared to John Irving and Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I can see both, especially Irving, and I'm responding to it. I thought it was, until I stumbled today with it, I thought it was going to be like a really good John Irving novel, and now I'm worried it's going to end up being like kind of a mediocre John Irving novel. The story got really weird in the last chapter I read, but I'm also want to hopefully chalk that up to the fact that I wasn't feeling well, and I'm going to hopefully it'll get back on track with it. I keep going back and forth about whether to tell you about what turned me off. I can tell it in a way that it won't be spoilery unless you're really anal about spoilers. I can talk about it in a general way. But it's breathtaking, the scope of this novel. And it's about a French-Canadian family. And I don't even know how to tell you. I mean, other than that are storytellers. And so the nesting of stories, somebody's telling a story, and then in that story somebody else is telling a story, and it's not pomo, it's just inventive and wonderful. The embeddedness of the storytelling in this novel, and the characters, they're wonderful. They're not characters that I'm falling in love with, but characters that I'm definitely fascinated by. But let me just tell you, and again, if you think that I'm going to say something that's going to ruin your experience of the novel, even though I'm going to talk about it in a general way, I'm not going to give you a cast of characters or anything, but there's a grandma in here that dies, but she doesn't die. Now, that didn't actually turn me off. I thought it was strange, so that's not the problem I had with this book. But she dies, but then she's still alive, or she's a ghost, but everybody can see her and interact with her, but they now know that she's a ghost. So that's weird, but kind of interesting. It's a little bit... I kind of felt myself going, but no, 200 pages later, she's still kicking around. And so she's still living with the family. But when the family in 1960 bring the first television into the house, she throws a hissy fit about the noisiness of a TV, and she moves out. She goes to a convent. And I just thought, that's... What? What? It just struck me as silly. Why? And then there's a girl who gets punished by her parents, and this all happened within the same chapter, and it just the double whammy of it. There's a girl, she's 12 years old, and she gets punished by her parents, and they force her to peel potatoes for 5 years non-stop until she's 17. Now, everything in the novel had been, other than the ghost grandma, had been pretty realistic, but when those two things kind of bumped up against each other in this chapter, I thought, oh, I don't know if I like that. That's kind of just really silly. Like, what's the point of this? So, magical realism, I guess. But it could be going south for me. I hope not. I'm not giving up. I'm doing this as a buddy read with my dear friend Gwen. I now have permission to call her Gwen, but she also said if I wanted to call her Book Slut, I could do that too. And she's not a social media person, so you won't be meeting her on my channel, but I now have carte blanche to refer to her as much as I want. So I don't want to disappoint her by bailing. Not at the position of bailing now, but I just thought that was a little weird. A little too weird for me, so I'm just hoping it's just a little bit of a novelistic hiccup and things will kind of get back on track. But I was really enjoying it, even though it's, it's kind of a weird book, but certainly interesting. So I'll have more to say on my next Friday Reads. So that is basically what I've got to say in terms of what I've been reading. I don't know whether because I lost a day of reading today, I was really hoping to finish the Wendell Berry today. Oh, the Wendell Berry, my mom's reading it on Scribd. So you will see her and I having a discussion on my channel. Might not get posted until I come back in January, but we're going to film a video. I think my mom will love this novel. It'd be funny if she didn't and I did, but I think she will like it. So to be doing that. And but because I lost the day of reading, I don't know if I'll be able to fit in any other books before the end of the year. Oh, the Italian one for, definitely I will fit in the Italian one for Brita's Nobel Women read-along. And I've got a bunch of pre-filmed videos that should be coming out fairly regularly while I'm away, and I'll have a Friday Reads for you from Saskatoon next week, all things being equal. And that's all I got to say. I guess I should say Merry Christmas, but I don't want to, so I won't. Thanks for watching.